Please listen carefully.
Hello, universe. Welcome to the Optimist Daily update. I'm Ariel Tiengo.
And I'm Summers McKay.
And we are part of the team behind the Optimist Daily, making solutions the news. We bring you reader-funded solutions news every day in order to change the tenor of news media, social media, and the direction of your day to help us all get focused on what's going right in the world.
7 days a week, we publish positive news stories written by award-winning journalists and delivered online to your inbox and through our social channels. And also, we are sharing these solutions in a commute-worthy, walk-worthy, home office-worthy, leash training a puppy-worthy podcast. Today is Tuesday, the 1st of February, 2022. Guess what?
I think I might know based on your Instagram post.
We picked up Denali Sally. I think I've told the story as why. The dog's name is Denali Sally, but if not, read my Instagram. But we did pick up this puppy, or I picked up this puppy, and he's spending the day with me, and we are taking him to the vet. He has not ever had a vet visit. He's a 10-week-old puppy. And so I want to get him checked out by the vet before I introduce him to Brennan, and I want to make sure there's nothing seriously wrong with him because I wouldn't want to break her heart. But yes, I am spending the day with my most 99.99999% likely new puppy. He's so cute. He's already been accepted by the cats. The cats have already sniffed him. Everybody's made friends. One of the cats is actually sleeping outside his little playpen at the moment. He is napping. He looks like a little mini Bernese mountain dog, and he's ridiculously cute.
Your pack just keeps getting bigger and bigger.
I know, but I think this is probably it for a while. It was a fun weekend and a fun Monday, and it's my birthday week too, right?
Happy birthday.
February, and good things are happening, and solutions are on the rise, and we met our goals for January as far as revenue and new emissaries at the Optimist Daily, and
Woohoo.
I mean, Ariel, it's a good day. Now I'm just bubbling away, but how are you, my friend?
Well, to be honest, I'm feeling a little bit under the weather, but the weekend was gloriously sunny. It was also deliciously unremarkable, as in I didn't really have to do anything. Yeah, so just took some walks and relaxed. But on Monday, I started feeling that tickle in the back of my throat, did an at-home test. It's not COVID, but I think I'm just getting a cold. It's all good.
We're not even going to talk about COVID because if we do, then Spotify will put a notice on our podcast that we talk about COVID. But I kind of feel like we all just at the drop of a tickle or itchy throat or whatever, take these at-home tests. And at some point, we're going to just acknowledge that we all get colds. I'm delighted that you just have a cold because you, like me, if you're okay with me saying this on the pod, but neither you nor I have actually ever tested positive for COVID, right?
Yeah, never.
So 2.5 years into this, we're pretty lucky.
I definitely feel lucky, but I also feel like I'm bound to get it at some point because I'm becoming the minority. Yeah, and I guess that's why I have this stack of at-home tests, just to make sure,
Well, I'm glad you don't have COVID. I'm sorry that you're not feeling well. We won't make you talk too much on the podcast, although talking is your job.
Yeah.
So do you want me to go first or do you want to go first?
Actually, you know what? I'll go first because I really enjoyed this story. The headline reads, "Fake poop helps tiny endangered owls find new homes." There is a bird called the Western Burrowing Owl, and local conservationists in California's grasslands have been trying to build up this bird species population again because there's so many new building developments, and also just human encroachment in general has brought the population down. However, getting these endangered owl species to accept their new homes is pretty challenging. They seem to be picky. So you guys should Google image the Western Burrowing Owl because it's very, very cute. It sometimes looks kind of grumpy, and they're about 19 to 28 centimeters in height. So that's about the size of the robin. So they're just tiny little owls. So the birds don't actually burrow. Instead, they hole up in abandoned burrows made by other species such as prairie dogs and ground squirrels.
Ground-dwelling owls. Interesting.
But that actually makes them pretty vulnerable to attacks by domestic animals such as cats and dogs. So that means that in addition to the risk of habitat loss, living close to human development can really take a toll on the species' survival. So to help these owls relocate, biologists from San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance have come up with a plan to make the owls feel more at home because these owls actually don't really like to go into a burrow that another owl hasn't already lived in. It's kind of like when you walk past a restaurant back in the old days.
An empty restaurant now is a good thing, but in the old days, an empty restaurant you wouldn't go in. Yeah. So these burrow-dwelling owls also look for social proof.
Yeah, exactly. They like to be in a neighborhood to live near other owls. That's what Colleen Wysinski, a conservation biologist from San Diego Wildlife Alliance, told AP. And as part of the project, Wysinski and other scientists got creative and devised a set of tools to safeguard the well-being of these little birds by making it seem as though other owls had already been there or are still there. So to do that, they played recordings of owl calls and sprayed the new burrows with white paint to make them look like owl poop. And these are new burrows that are in the grassland habitat that the biologists are trying to repopulate. Fortunately, the new efforts proved successful, and the researchers managed to convince the picky owls to feel at home in their new grassland habitat. By 2020, there were about 50 baby owls, or owlets, that were born at the primary site of Rancho Jamul Ecological Reserve in southwestern San Diego County. So that is a reflection on its own of the study's success.
I love this story, and I love that it's, fake poop sprayed on man-made burrows for little tiny owls. I did Google the wood burrowing owls. They are absolutely adorable, and they do look like the grumpy cat version of an owl.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I love a solution that takes on an ecological challenge and that once again integrates our role with nature. I also like solutions that take on some big business, big organizations, and big ideas that need to be changed. My headline reads, "The Fight for LGBTQ plus Rights Within the German Catholic Church." Little background. I am Catholic. I was raised Catholic. I was baptized Catholic. I have baptized my daughter Catholic. I loved much of my Catholic tradition growing up because I considered it my doorway to spirituality. Understanding religions and the access to spiritual and other and a collective good, all of that is part of why I even work at the Optimist Daily, because I truly believe that we are part of something far bigger than ourselves, and we are beholden to one another to usher in a better tomorrow with our faith. However, being Catholic has not always been easy. In fact, during the pandemic, there's part of me that's been a little bit grateful that even though I did baptize Brennan, I haven't taken her to Mass because I've been really, really, really unhappy and increasingly unhappy with the treatment of LGBTQ plus members of the Catholic community. However, a very good friend of mine once reminded me that if all the people who are fighting for rights, if everybody leaves, then there's nobody there to change things for the better. And that is why I am incredibly inspired by the 120 priests and other employees within the Catholic Church community in Germany who came out as queer as part of a campaign that demanded an end to institutional discrimination against the community within the church. The campaign calls on the Roman Catholic Church in Germany to provide better protection of LGBTQ plus rights and for the church to revise its statements on sexuality based on theological and human scientific findings. The group is flat out asking the church to take accountability for their discrimination against LGBTQ plus people throughout history and wishes that the bishop would take responsibility on behalf of the church. Now, one of the demands of this group is that they should be able to have access to all kinds of activities and occupations in the church without discrimination. Done with the don't ask, don't tell, that's BS. I'm getting fired up. That's hogwash. We'll go with hogwash. Last year, the Vatican ruled that priests cannot bless same-sex unions and that if the priests were to do so, these unions wouldn't be considered valid. This ruling, of course, sparked a heated debate on the matter with heavy resistance against it in some parts of Germany. I have been reading about this. There has been, back in May, Germany's Quiet Catholic Rebellion on gay blessings, where German priests were just doing it anyway. And I think that this is just really meaningful that people who are in the community, instead of leaving the community of Catholicism, a faith-based community, are staying and changing it for the good. And that is exactly why I think that we all have so much more power in who we are and what we can be than just leaving. And I am delighted by these people. I am inspired by these people. And it makes me want to fight for a faith community that supports diversity and supports the LGBTQ plus community. So poop and church. What else do we have today?
We have a study that says magnesium improves immune cell capabilities. Fish talk. Study confirms that most fish use sound to communicate. I almost picked that one because that one's also really cool. I guess I'm on a nature beat.
You were outside for a brief and shining moment, and so you're like, nature!
I know. And there's another article that tells you how to spend your money on happiness. Anything else?
Better air quality during initial lockdowns saved hundreds of lives. A new program in California helps kids manage tough emotions. Scientists help frogs regrow amputated limbs. And sex in space? The push to find out if we can reproduce in outer space. That and much, much more is available as always on the optimistdaily.com. Thank you all for listening to today's Optimist Daily Update. We promise to continue to share positive solution-based stories with ideas on how you can participate in this changing world and ensure it is changed for the good. We promise to cover the current events with accuracy, legitimate sources, and offer you the information needed most to chart new paths for all of us.
Please consider becoming an emissary on the optimistdaily.com, and for as little as $5 a month, you can support reader-funded independent journalism. Be part of the solution-changing consciousness and address our world's biggest challenges with a problem-solving mindset. Let's keep the Optimist Daily free to all who need it, supported by those who can.
Ooh, my one cat, my one grumpy cat, my big orange tabby who doesn't like anyone, just came over and sniffed the dog and purred.
Oh my God.
He's just so cute. All right, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow with more puppy stories and more solutions.